Earlier this year, I made a video discussing what made my favorite games. All 4 of these games have something in common, and it was the concept of breaking them, which really just meant being overpowered in them. Some had specific mechanics that excelled greater than others, and some were just naturally progressed towards greatness as you played the game more and more. But that's not quite the full picture for them. While this is a major reason I love all of these games and several other games higher up on my list, there are some games that I enjoy for almost an opposing reason. Some of these games fitting quite well into this other category. This category of games I absolutely love are the type of games that absolutely despise me. So, what the hell do I mean by despising me? Simply put, I like a challenge every so often. I like working hard towards a goal, whether it be actually completing a game or a certain challenge dedicated inside of the game. In fact, even though I dropped several videos talking about how fun Age of Calamity is to me, I spent a majority of my streams this year doing an Apocalypse difficulty playthrough. And in summary of how that run kind of works... Ow. This hasn't even been the first time I've done one of those runs as well, and I was clearly determined enough to get through another playthrough, so does that mean I lied at the beginning of the year? Not at all. I still love being incredibly powerful in video games. However, one thing we didn't really fully discuss is how we even get to that point in the first place. Most games don't open up with you being the most powerful entity known to humanity, but instead something you kind of have to work towards. Whether it is in-game experience, obtaining certain resources, there are several ways you can slowly build yourself up to being a worthy challenge for the enemy set away. But what if the game doesn't give you any of that? What if whenever you play a game, you have the same resources from start to finish, usually being just about nothing? Would I still enjoy such a game that pushes me down no matter what I do? Strangely enough, I tend to enjoy some of these games a lot more. So why don't we get into why I love the games that hate me? If I had one word to describe Rainworld, it would be IDK. Okay, in all seriousness, this game is absolutely insane for several reasons, and will certainly get its own video in time. It's one of those games that when anyone asks an avid fan about why they should play the game, it's met with just, you just gotta. But we'll get to the hype moments and aura for another time. For now, I really want to focus on the actual gameplay and what makes it fit into the I hate the player category. To start off real simply, this is you. You are a slug cat. A little goober has a grand, wonderful world to explore in search of your family. However, this world has a rather firm ecosystem. Those who have played Rainworld have experienced a rather harsh hand from the animals that roam the world. Even the starting area can be rather rough. The first animals we come across are the lizards, usually the green lizard. Big, strong, and even making the screen shake a bit when he moves. This intimidating presence is enough for most slug cats to hide away in fear. Once it gets near you, it's just one chomp away from sending you back to your last shelter. And there are many, many other creatures in Rainworld, many providing a very intimidating presence, and with such, the remaining few are still intimidating, even if they are virtually harmless. So with all these terrifying creatures roaming the land, how does the game help you progress? Well, by actively punishing you for dying. And I'm not talking about a usual go back to your last save spot, which the game already does, but this game has something called the karma system, where each successful shelter, your karma goes up by 1 point, up to a maximum of 5. Yippee! However, if you die, your karma goes down. And if your karma is too low... Right. You're stuck. This game has several karma gates scattered across the world, which requires certain karma levels to progress past them. These levels may vary, but the general concept is that the more dangerous areas have a lower karma requirement needed to exit, and less dangerous areas require higher karma to exit. Outskirts, the starting area, has 3 karma gates accessible from the start, all of which requiring 3 karma or higher. Consequently, to go back into Outskirts, you are only required to have a karma level of 2. This mechanic is rather harsh, and a lot of players can get rightfully frustrated with it, especially when most of the deaths provided can realistically be caused by like one small mistake.
Yeah, that looks about right.
However, keep in mind what I mentioned earlier. Easier areas are harder to leave and easier to access, and harder areas are easier to leave and harder to access. By being stuck in these technically easier areas, you're forced to explore, gather, and learn your surroundings before you can even progress, giving you plenty of time to realize, oh, this green lizard can't reach me if I'm 2 feet above the ground. Oh, I could store food for future cycles if I'm full in the current one. Ooh, I could commit incredible violence if I pick up one of these spears. While the easier areas provide these moments to learn more of the game, the harder areas exist more as a proper challenge, simply just to get through it. You're not usually actively punished for reaching the end of a gauntlet of rooms and savage beasts. Usually. Really, as you play through the game further, you learn more and more about how to deal with most animals, their habits, how to avoid and defeat them, and how to even work with them. While at first the game appears to be a hopeless struggle forward, where you're just praying to progress, it's truly a learning experience. And future playthroughs will go much smoother when you know where to go and how to deal with what lies ahead. But this isn't quite what I was getting at the opening. I'm not just talking about challenging games that take a while to learn. I'm talking about the games that are actively out to get you, and there's nothing you can actually do about it. And there's one example that a lot of us are familiar with. Well, several, actually. Now, unlike just about all the games I spent this year talking about, I really don't think Mario Party is going to need as big of an introduction. Most of you have likely already played it, casually or religiously, knowing it's a simple board game, party game, Mario game for fun with friends and family. If you're not familiar with it, congratulations with your splendid relationship with your family. In any case, this is more so what I was trying to talk about at the start of the video. Regardless of which Mario Party you played or even grew up with, you probably had a few instances of, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Several instances of your own progression in the first place thwarted by the game. And I don't mean other players or generally poor gameplay. I mean the game itself is screwing you over. All based on luck. Being as big of a Mario Party enthusiast as I am, I've had unfathomable amounts of unpredictability thwart my poor soul. I have several series over Mario Party 3 story mode where many of my sudden interactions throw my plans into the dumpster.
Don't you dare. You're joking! What?
That's fine. We're not in a bad position. Oh, he's gonna get. Oh, alright. This either sets the game for. This either sets the coin star or it ruins it.
But this is far from the only fun I've had. Even as I play through some of the later parties, the ones I grew up with, I still get a reminder of the humble god I lay before.
Yeah, that's half, that's right. Oh god. I really should have, but like it just wasn't going to end well either way. And we land on the Bowser, and who gives a shit?
And I'm just playing these games on my own in these clips. Keep in mind, this is a game designed for fun for the full family. So having these interactions personalized all the more with the competition between friends and family, it's bound to get heated. And as I'm sure we all know, it certainly gets there. So why the hell does everybody still play a game like this? That's suffering no matter what. Well, for starters, it's Mario, and well, that's pretty marketable. But more importantly, it's a party. While you can get screwed over 15 times in a row, it is entirely possible for the tide to turn back in your favor despite everything that happened before. And even though there is a lot of realism in what happens to the relationships with the others playing the game, there's not really anything at stake in winning or losing the game. Any points used for collectibles are the same regardless of how the game goes, and in many instances, most Mario parties have points increase when you actually play with others. If anything, if you want to unlock more of the game, abusing friends and family is the way to go. There's virtually nothing to lose by doing so. And those joining with you are likely not even stressing about getting points outside of the board game itself, they're just here to have a good time. Even after all the chaos and calamity that ensues through these Mario parties, most people are willing to return to it. Sometimes losing a previous game just makes them more eager at another shot to win. So, with all of that said and done, Mario Party is a game that thrives on absolute luck dictating a majority of the game, and in some cases, all of it. However, with mentioning Rainworld earlier, and how a lot of the agony in that game is prevented through experience and learning, it begs a question. What horrors happen when we combine these two games together? Spelunky 2, sequel to Spelunky HD, and regarded as one of the more iconic indie games out there. I myself gathered a lot of my online friends in Spelunky 2 communities, and even kickstarted my channel a lot with speedrunning the game. With all of that in mind, I wonder what all my friends actually think about Spelunky 2 in this point in time. In all honesty, that went better than I expected. As a brief run through on Spelunky 2, this game is a roguelike. Starting with nothing but your experience, your goal is to make it all the way to the end, which on paper seems easy enough. In fact, let me just show you how easy it is. We'll start the first level, and we have already made a mistake. Once again, we are in a situation where we need to learn our way through the game. Several enemies and traps exist throughout these deep caves, all of which you will need to learn in order to progress. This horned lizard will leap and roll at you, knocking you incredibly far back. So, learn to keep your distance and hop over it gently as it comes by. Many fire-based enemies appear in the game as well, of which can ignite several of your items and make them explode instantly. With such in mind, you either prepare yourself with non-explosive items or possibly just avoid those areas outright. These spark traps here rotate around in a circle, but only show up when you get near. So, learn to keep your distance, or hug them very closely, either way, being very careful as you approach. Another standard game of progression through learning. Pretty simple, right? See, that's where our real problem begins. Although you can absolutely learn every single pixel and instance of the game, there are still many instances where you are pretty much helpless. These horned lizards, sometimes they'll launch at weird angles, and the massive stun time can cause damage to really pile up.
How? What do you mean he bumps like that? What the fuck are you talking about? Why did he do that?
Those lava enemies, one can drop on you from the other vertical side of the map, surprising anyone focusing on another section of lava.
That's a terrible idea, because now I don't have a way to... Thank you, game.
Spark traps? Yeah, I was also only implying that there was just one trap, and in Neo Babylon, there is never just one spark trap.
How many? What is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 on screen if I'm looking down. What in the actual shit? There's so many!
Now, can you prepare for these? Certainly. However, it takes time, resources, and even more extensive knowledge than already needed. If someone is trying to get through the game quickly, or even a little impatient after losing another run, it can get incredibly difficult and frustrating to have these moments occur to you. Even then, there are moments that are entirely unavoidable.
High, let me go high. And, oh, so I'm just dead. Alright, cool.
This is such a common instance in the game, the community has its own title for it ever since HD. All of these clips were taken from my own version of the community series, of which is titled Spelunked. If you think I've had it rough, there are many other creators out there who have had it far, far worse than I have. Some quitting the game outright.
You know, sometimes people ask me, Poison, why'd you stop streaming Spelunky 2 full-time? You know, I boot the game up and I play the daily, and so often I'm reminded why I stopped playing this game in the first place.
And yet, despite it all, it's still coveted as one of the largest indie games out there, and the time spent on it clearly shows. But what is it that drives so many to put themselves through such misery and anguish just to complete a run? In all honesty, I think it's something similar to what I said in that earlier video. Control. While the other video discussed everyone showing the pinnacle of their ability, said abilities were, in all honesty, kind of looking downward, showing what one could do with their limitless creativity and understanding of the game they play. While here we have another sense of control, but this time, looking upward. Humanity has always been attempting to achieve the impossible, constantly going past what was previously thought to be impossible. These games are no different. As hard, agonizing, miserating as they can be, some of the games entirely luck depend on if you win, there's still a goal to accomplish. And it means something to a lot of people, to be able to complete what feels like a difficult or even impossible feat. That's why I've been throwing myself at the brick wall attempting to beat Silksong without dying once. Because I believe in my ability to do so. Because I want to prove to myself that I can accomplish a task which seems monumentally difficult to do. So, while many enjoy playing games to unwind and power over everything before them, some might enjoy that powerless feeling and wanting to feel that strength they have through these games. I myself will attempt both as much as I can.